I moved from Karachi to a small town in upstate New York a few months ago. I had rented a small old house, a quiet place with a big yard and some woods behind it. It looked peaceful, perfect for someone who wanted silence. I found it online in a strange ad that said, "Looking for someone to stay in our old manor. Rent low if you help maintain it." It sounded too good to be true, but I needed a cheap place. A week later, I got the keys. When I first entered, the house smelled like dust and rain. The wooden floors creaked under my shoes. The wallpaper was faded, the windows old. Still, it felt livable. The owner told me it was a family property. They had moved abroad, so I would just need to keep the place clean and report any damage. Everything was fine for the first day. I unpacked, made coffee, and watched the sunset from the porch. But that night, something strange happened. Around 2 a.m., when I was half asleep, I heard the soft sound of a door opening, slowly, like someone was trying not to make noise. I sat up, listened, then silence. I checked the doors and windows. All were shut. I told myself, old house noises, and went back to bed. The second night, it got weirder. I stayed up late reading. At around 3 a.m., I heard footsteps in the hallway, slow, heavy ones. They stopped right outside my bedroom. "Hello?" I said, half expecting someone to answer. Nothing. I opened the door, turned on my phone light, and looked down the hallway. No one was there. The air felt colder than before. The door at the end of the hallway was slightly open, even though I remembered locking it. The next morning, I was in the living room sipping coffee. Through the window, I could see the old wooden door leading to the garage. I noticed a long, deep scratch across it, fresh, like something sharp had dragged along the surface. I had never seen it before. I took a photo on my phone. The mark looked too deliberate to be random. That night, I heard something again. Not footsteps this time, but a whisper. A woman's voice, faint and shaky. "Help me." It came from somewhere inside the house. I froze. The air felt heavy, like someone was right behind me. I turned around, but nothing was there. After that night, I barely slept. The following day, I decided to install small security cameras in different corners of the house. If something was happening, I wanted proof. I stayed up to watch the footage live on my laptop. Everything was still for hours. Then, around 3:17 a.m., one of the hallway cameras picked up movement. A shadow. It looked like a shadow, walking past the camera, not solid, not human, like smoke taking a human form. I grabbed my flashlight and went to check. When I reached the hallway, it was empty. The air felt freezing. The shadow was gone. When I replayed the video the next morning, I saw it clearly, a blurry female figure, long hair, pale outline. Her face wasn't visible. That's when I started researching the property online. I found a few local legends about a Hart Manor, a place known to be haunted by the ghost of a missing girl named Emily Hart. She disappeared 50 years ago. People claimed her spirit still wandered the house, waiting to be heard. The story gave me chills. I decided to hire someone to stay with me, at least for safety. I posted an online ad for a caretaker. A young guy named Michael from Canada replied. He was a remote worker who wanted a quiet place to live. I told him about the old house, but not the haunting part. The first night he moved in, he came to my room at 2 a.m., pale and shaking. I heard footsteps and breathing. I tried to calm him down. I said, "It's probably the air ducts or the floor," though I didn't believe it myself.
The next night, something happened that scared both of us. We were watching TV when suddenly the screen flickered, switched channels by itself, then turned off. The plug wasn't even loose. The cord moved slightly, as if tugged by an invisible hand. Later that night, when I returned to my room, something was written on the wallpaper, faintly, in what looked like chalk. Leave. I touched it. It was fresh. I called Michael, showed him the wall. He looked horrified. "We should put more cameras," he said. So we did. Motion sensors, night vision cams, every corner of the house. That same night, one of the attic sensors went off. We climbed up carefully. The attic was small and full of dust. In one corner, there was an old trunk. We opened it and found some old letters, newspapers, and a photograph. It was a picture of a girl, around 16 or 17. Her eyes looked hollow, her expression lifeless. There was also a letter inside, written in faded ink. "I will not leave until my story is heard. Help me." Suddenly, a loud thump came from somewhere above us, like something heavy fell. We looked at each other and ran down the stairs. No one was there. But I could feel someone walking beside us, invisible, close, watching. That was the night we decided we couldn't ignore it anymore. We had to find out what really happened to Emily Hart.
The next morning, we went to the local library to dig into old town records. We found an article from 1975. Local borough, Emily Hart, missing. Last seen at Hart Manor. No traces found. There were no follow-up stories. No closure. We met an old clerk at the Town Historical Society, Mr. Wilson. When we mentioned Hart Manor, his expression changed. He said quietly, "I remember that case." He brought out a dusty folder. Inside were photos, reports, and something personal, pages from a diary. The handwriting was small and neat. The first line said, "I feel trapped in this house. I hear voices inside the walls." Another line read, "I wrote 'leave' on the walls. I don't want them to suffer like me." The last entry gave me chills. "If no one listens, I will stay forever." Mr. Wilson said police thought Emily ran away, but local people believed her spirit never left the house. Michael and I returned to the manor with a new purpose, to help Emily find peace. That night, we set up candles, a voice recorder, and an EVP device. We wanted to try a respectful seance, not to provoke, but to listen. We sat in silence for a few minutes. The air felt heavy again. I said softly, "Emily, if you are here, we are listening. We want to help." At first, nothing. Then faint static on the recorder. And suddenly, a whisper. "Why?" Michael's eyes widened. He adjusted the recorder. I said again, "What do you want, Emily? Do you want to leave this house?" The reply came, broken but real. "I want peace. Heard. Leave. Darkness." The candles flickered hard. A cold wind brushed across the room. My hands trembled. Then the temperature dropped sharply. The flame bent sideways as if someone walked past. I felt something move behind me, a soft presence, not evil, but desperate. I took the photograph from the trunk and placed it on the table. "Emily," I said, "this is you. We found your letters. Your voice will be heard." The recorder hissed again, and then we both heard it, clear, soft, like a sigh. "Thank you." The air around the photo shimmered, like faint light moving in waves. The picture brightened for a few seconds, then it faded back to normal. The coldness disappeared. We sat there for a long time, silent. The house felt different, lighter, calmer. The next morning, the scratches on the garage door were gone. The word "leave" had faded from the wallpaper.
Even the cameras showed nothing strange. No shadows, no footsteps, no cold spots. We both knew what that meant. She was finally free. A few days later, I found a distant relative of the Hart family through town records. She was an old woman now, living nearby. When I told her about the photo and the diary, she cried. She just wanted someone to believe her, she said. We gave her the photo in a small wooden frame. After that, Michael and I decided to move out. We listed the manor online, but this time with full honesty. Historic home with haunted past, respectfully restored. A month later, I edited all our camera clips, the EVP recordings and some narration, then uploaded a video on YouTube titled The Haunted House of Upstate New York, My True Encounter with Emily Hart. The response was huge. Thousands of people commented, sharing their own stories and theories. Some said they saw a faint glow behind me in the last shot, near the old staircase. Maybe they were right. Sometimes when I'm up late editing new videos, I still think of that night. The soft whisper, the thank you, the peace that followed. I don't believe in ghosts the same way anymore. I believe in unfinished stories. Emily's story just needed to be told. Now, whenever I pass an old house on a quiet road, I always wonder how many more voices are waiting to be heard.
Kindly subscribe the channel and comment if you like the video. Thanks for watching.